What's one of the most difficult things you've been through?
Why don't you go first?
I can start if you want me to. I'll just keep things rolling. No?
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Alright, so in second grade, little Owen, it was, I forget, Sunday. Carly and I were helping my dad out with the tractor, right? We were like moving wood in the bucket. I wasn't the smartest second grader, let's just say that. So to start the tractor, you have to put, the clutch in and shift it into gear. So I was like, I can't push this down with my legs. So I'm like, Carly, you sit on the tractor. I'll push it down with my hand, right? It's in gear, right?
Oh, yeah.
So then the tractor starts going forwards, and I like fall, right? So like, I'm on the ground, tractor's moving forwards. So you see this is going, I got my leg, this one, got run over by the tractor and it broke. Which, at first I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm like, oh, no, that's not fine. So it was a surgery, lots of hospital time, rehab as a second grader, which is tough because in second grade you're like, let's go outside. And I was like, nope, no.
Yeah,
I'd say that was the hardest moment in my life too. Like having to watch you go through that was hard. And like
definitely, yeah.
I couldn't do anything about it. So that was tricky. And then I think that moment on, I like started to have some anxiety about medical things because I like kind of watched it happen, and that just trickled into it and started something. But I definitely say through it brought me closer to Jesus. So God had a plan through all of it, although it was tricky in the midst of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. Like that's like most of my memories come from. It's like going outside playing with my friends,
Yeah.
I can imagine myself being in a wheelchair. Like, holy.
It took a whole new level when like the doctors were like, oh, they would always say, oh, you're lucky that you made it. Back then I was like, oh yeah, whatever. But now thinking about it, like, dang, like, whoa, like, okay, it could have been really bad.
Bad.
Yeah. Talk about my trauma now.
Therapy. Let's go.
Therapy session.
Therapy session.
So probably one of the hardest things that I've been through is my dad battling cancer for since I was in 6th grade, so 5 years. Right now he is cancer free, thankfully, but like he's still having to go through chemo and everything. So like when I first found out about it, I was in 6th grade, but my parents didn't tell my sister and I because like I was 12 and she was like 8.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to tell us, understandably so. So, like, I didn't know about it for a really long time, and the way I found out was actually a family friend slipping up and asking how my dad's cancer was going.
Oh.
And so I found out about that, and I was like, wait, what? And so in the car, that's when I found out. That was like a year later after everything, I found out.
Dang.
During, like, all of that, like, I was also diagnosed with Crohn's disease, like, in the middle of him. So like he was getting chemo and I was at the hospital constantly for like check-ins and stuff. Yeah, that was last year. Wow. So yeah, really fun time. I think looking back on it, I'm really proud of myself that I was able to get through all of that because like I still don't I think God really helped me through it because I truly do not understand how I was able to go that long.
Yeah.
And the thing is about it is that like you went through it and you've been through it, and like what people don't really do is that like when they look at a bad situation, they look at the bad side and the bad side only. They never look at the good side. They never look at like what you've learned and like what you've grown through. And like the thing is that you can tell people is like I've been through that. I know what you're feeling. Like I can explain to like what's going on. I can relate to you. And I think somewhere down the line, you're gonna help someone out too, like with that same problem.
I think with what you said about God being with you and like growing closer, I think for me at the time I didn't notice it, but like looking back now, I realized all the people that I had around me to support me through that, and like it clearly wasn't just us, like it was God working through us, but I didn't really notice it. Second grade Owen wasn't aware of that, but now I kind of see that more now that I look back on it.
Definitely.
And even if you don't understand why it's happening, even in the moment, it's cool to be able to look back and be like, I did learn like this one thing, even though it still sucked, but
it's just crazy how God works sometimes. Like you're just like,
right.
I don't understand. Like, what are you doing right now? And then like later down the road, like, oh, so that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
So I get it. All right, let's rock and roll.
Next one we kind of talked about like a little, but Next question is, how do you respond when life sucks?
How should we respond?
There's a difference. How should we or what should we?
What do I do? What's the
The
actual
sad music Spotify playlist. Get it on.
I feel like I don't get
Just sit
sad a lot
there.
though. I mean, like, actually I do do that, but like if
Yeah.
I'm like sad, I'll just sit there and kind of just like, I don't know, just dwell on it and just think stuff like what I want to do. Like I always tell myself like in the back of my head, like, yeah, just go pray real quick. Go talk to God about it. Go do this.
Right.
Like we said at the beginning, what we should do, what we should do. But like what I do is just, and then I'll just be like, yeah, whatever. And then I'll just go on, and then I'll go outside or something. If I like want to get my mind off stuff, I'll go play catch with my brother.
I would say I use humor very much. Like with any feelings, like I have little cousins, and if they like fall on the ground and hurt themselves, I'm like, nope. And then I try to do something to make them laugh, like so they forget about that. Like if I make someone laugh, I feel like it would make me happy too. Like I feel good about myself when someone else laughs. And a lot of times I would just like something would happen, I kind of like keep the feelings inside and then just laugh it off. Like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like we're good. And just kind of. I mean, that's exactly what I do.
Next question.
Because I'm fine.
I'm
Like,
fine.
Well, that's what it would be. I'd just be like, yeah, we're good.
I think for me, I'll definitely be stressed out, but a lot of times I think I'll shift the blame to other people. Like, I mean, my brother is an easy one to blame.
Owen.
So sometimes I blame him for stuff that I shouldn't. But like in stressful situations, sometimes that's what I'll do. But really, what I should be doing and what really works the best is, like you're saying, praying, talking to God, and really just working things out with Him because He has the plan. But that's what comforts me, and that's what helps me get through the sucky times when I talk to God about it and realize that there's a purpose for it and it's not just happening to happen.
Yeah.
It feels purposeful. Then.
There's a meaning.
Like,
There's
yeah,
like
you're
a
like,
meaning
oh,
there.
okay.
It's like,
right.
yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Like for
Right.
me, it definitely like
Yeah.
in the moment, it's not like, oh yeah, that's why.
It's like
it's
it's
just
like
got
yeah.
us. But sometimes it takes like some time afterwards until I'm like, oh, yeah, it makes sense
Yeah.
now.
For me, like depends what like a situation. Like if it's a dumb situation, I'm gonna be like mad or dwell over it. And I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm done. But, like if it's something serious, like what I actually like to do for me is just like, dude, I hate when people like try to be like fill it up with like gushy and like all lovely rainbows. Like no, like give it to me straight. Just like give it to me straight. Like tell me what's up. Like cause like that's how I've grown up. Cause my dad's Italian, right? He's from New York, like. So he's like everything's just boom, 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 like right there. Like I'm gonna tell you how it is, and that's how it's gonna be. So I'm like, that's what I like, cause I like just tell me how it is. Cause like sometimes, and I know this I just like to hear, but like sometimes like some things aren't meant to feel good, and that's a good thing. And like just you need to feel the good and the bad sometimes. So that's how we learn. That's how we live and learn.
And choosing to be joyful even if your situation sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's something that's kind of stuck with me. Like, God hasn't given me a spirit of fear, but of power and love. Like,
Yeah.
I can choose every day to be joyful rather than,
Yeah.
like, thinking, like, having something set me off. Like, I don't know, get a bad grade or something.
yeah.
Like,
I
it's
think-
all right.
yeah.
Like, it's going to be okay.
For
I can
real.
still be joyful through it, even though,
Yeah, that's why I love like following Jesus. You can just it's a choice though. Like and that's what makes it
Right.
so much more better. You're just like, dude, I get to choose to love this guy because he already loves me. Like I don't gotta worry about that. Like I get to choose to love him. Like that's awesome.
What you guys are talking about leads us to the last question we have here, which is, what would you say to someone who's going through a difficult time right now?
I mean,
yeah,
go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. I would say just make the best out of your situation. Because I feel like in my case, with at least my broken leg, is like, it's not if I worry about it and I'm angry that I broke my leg, it's not going to go any faster. Like, it's something I have to wait out and just make the best of what he got. Like, I started to play video games because that's all I could really do. Play card games. I got really good at Old Maid, if that's even possible. I got real good at it.
How?
It's all in the mind. It's a mind game.
the
But
mind.
it just, you kind of have to make the best out of what's happening, and don't like. I don't want to say don't worry, because sometimes like it's good to just be aware. But if you're dreading something, and also I hate the dentist, so Like, I would worry about the next dentist appointment. Like, yo, I don't know. Like, are they going to, like, rip my teeth out? I would always worry about that. And then I learned to adopt the mindset, like, if you worry about that in the future, you're just going to, like, waste your time until then. Like, I just think about, oh, I got that dentist appointment next week. And it would really, like, worry me. And I just kind of learned, don't stress yourself out about something that's not worth stressing out about.
Yeah, to kind of like bounce off of that, like people don't really like realize that, like, oh my gosh, is this gonna last forever? Like that, like when when my anxiety's running, it's like this is gonna be on forever. This is gonna keep on going. This is never gonna end. No, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You just gotta seek it through, and that's what not many people do. Cause then, like, that's where like sometimes like I just want to give up, and then they give up, and then they're stuck. You know, they don't keep on pushing through. You know, and I think that happened to me. I'm gonna be quite honest. I just stopped in the middle of like the road, if you want to say it. Just put like a road, and it's just like I just stopped. I was like, just stood there. I wasn't working on myself, didn't do any of that. I didn't care really. And then, you know, Jesus stepped in my life. Like, all right, yo, we're getting the pedals going.
Yeah, I think like there's something to like, I'm definitely like methodic and like thinking. So like, I feel like there's a time when like in a situation, say you're feeling a lot of anxiety or something, like kind of like break it down and see like, is there any part of this that like I can change? Like, is it like I need to quit this sport? Is that giving me anxiety, these friends or something? And like identify what you could change and like you could do, and then like recognize and acknowledge and accept that what's left you might not be able to change. Like you might still have to go to the dentist, or like it might be a situation that like you know to break it to you. Like or like, you know, someone's sick or something like that, and it's like you can't. And so I think there's like almost relief if you allow yourself to like accept that there is nothing you can do about that aspect of it, and like that's when you can give that to God, or like even sometimes there's someone around you who can, you know, give that to them and share the burden, and they can do that. But like I feel like it helps to actually break that down. Or like I like the tangible again, so it's like sometimes it helps like when I'm going through a tough time to like look back at like other bad things that have happened and like how God saw me through it and like the outcome, to just remind yourself like that you've seen him work before, so like you're gonna see it again. But like sometimes when you're in the midst of it, like you can only think about that moment, and so it's like you forget all the times like God has shown up in your life.